Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, man. Today we're going to talk about the Toronto Raptors trade deadline. If you guys enjoy this video and you like daily Toronto Raptors content, be sure to hit that subscribe button, man. Let's aim for 100 likes on today's video. Swaggy and I might make a Raptors only channel. Let me know down below in the comment section if that's something that interests you guys. Miles Turner, Jacob Poeltl, Robert Williams, Nicholas Claxton. We're even getting, Nurkic. Like, there's a bunch of dudes. Danilo Gallinari. According to Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype, literally today, he reported like 6 different players, all those guys I just mentioned, who are possible trade targets for the Toronto Raptors. And I'm still trying to find out this damn Miles Turner trade because I saw something online a couple of days ago, and it was like a Miles Turner proposed trade from the Raptors, and it was something super doable, and I'm really trying to find out what that was so I can make a video on it. But man, like, Miles Turner is probably my favorite out of that whole group just because of the way he plays defense specifically. I mean, we're talking like a 3 block per game score, but we'll talk about all these guys here in just a second. The Raptors have won 5 straight basketball games now, 28-23, considering they were supposed to take that with a grain of salt. Vegas put the Raptors win total at, I want to say it was 35, maybe 35 and a half. Terrible. Man, literally terrible. They literally only have to win 7 more games and they'll just say fuck you to Vegas. So only 5.5 games outside of the Chicago Bulls, who are sitting at the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference at 33-19. I saw a funny tweet on Twitter earlier today where it was like, the rest of the Raptors win 5 straight, and then it was like the rest of the NBA, and it was some Seinfeld meme like what the F's happening or something. It was something like that. I can't remember what it was, but Toronto should be feared, man. We've made so many videos about it on this channel since the start of the season, since the draft. Like, the Raptors literally have one of the most talented starting 5 lineups in the entire NBA. And then you go ahead and you bring in, literally, if the Raptors were to bring in any of the dudes I just mentioned, and you're unloading a guy like Goran Dragic in that trade, maybe you might have to get rid of Chris Boucher. I think that's really like my big downside. But hopefully Precious Achiuwa. I mean, Precious has been playing pretty solid since he's come back from injury. Hopefully he would be able to kind of step up in wake of Chris Boucher, because you never know. Chris is a really solid guy. I mean, like, he might not be Mr. Consistency, but he's the type of dude where if Siakam were to go down for, like, say like a week or two, you don't really feel that, like, you're not that worried because you have Chris Boucher, and you're like, all right, it's a week or two, Chris can hold his ground, and then, out of thin air, he'll drop like 38 and 19 with 5 threes, and it's like, whoa, maybe let's not trade Chris Boucher. That's why I really want to find that Miles Turner trade, because I don't believe Chris Boucher was in that trade. I think it was like 2 first-round picks, Goran, and, honestly, that might be, I think Svi Mihajlovic might have been in that trade. But looking at it, I think realistically speaking, so apparently a report came out again earlier today about Miles Turner saying it's kind of like a coin flip. I don't think Indiana honestly trades Miles Turner unless they get an offer that they just cannot refuse, and unfortunately I don't think Toronto is going to be the team that offers them. I just really don't see it happening. I think a different team in the NBA who would want Miles Turner would be able to, kind of package something together that would be a little more enticing. I mean, keep in mind, Miles is only 25 years old. I mean, there's a pretty bright future with him. Danilo Gallinari, he's definitely solid. I don't know if the Atlanta Hawks are looking to unload him. Once again, I mean, it kind of comes back to what package are you giving up? The thing with the Toronto Raptors is their starting 5 is so talented. So whatever player they bring in, any of those dudes I just mentioned, except maybe like Nicholas Claxton and Gallinari, they would probably be starting. So I'm really a fan of trading for Gallinari, because I think if Atlanta's interested in Goran, the salaries line up enough, and he's still going to be coming off the bench. Like, Gallinari would be coming off of the bench. My only kind of like concern is that, I mean, I think he's 33. Yeah, he's 33 years old. Defensively, I don't think he's going to be able to give you as much. But the thing is, I guess if Goran isn't playing, what really do you have to lose? Jakob Poeltl, I think, is a beautiful, perfect option for the Toronto Raptors. I think, honestly, like, he would do a lot of good things. Nurkic, I think, is going to be a little bit too expensive, but the good news is we just got that ridiculous Trailblazers-Clippers trade where, it was absolutely horrible. They fleeced them, second-round pick after literally just like 1 year removed of Portland trading 2 first-round draft picks to acquire Gary Trent Jr.'s, or to acquire Norman Powell, sorry. So super weird, but I guess if they're kind of setting the tone, setting the precedent with that horrible value trade, then honestly, maybe Nurkic is going to be one of the guys that they can target. Bringing in a guy like Nurkic would pose not a problem. I think it would pose good problems in my head. It's more so, all right, is he going to start? Is he going to close games? Like, how's the lineup going to look? Because it's really easy for me to say this right now because they've won 5 straight basketball games, but I think ideally the Toronto Raptors aren't trying to mess with their starting 5 all that much. A trade where you're acquiring a big man, or honestly just anybody in general, I think would put Scotty Barnes onto the bench, which that sounds really intriguing. It sounds really, really intriguing. But what sucks is that means Scotty Barnes wouldn't be starting and closing games. Maybe if you get a guy like Nurkic, maybe they would decide, maybe some games Nurse would decide to go Scotty Barnes over Nurkic. But I don't want to see the removal of Gary Trent Jr. in the starting lineup. I don't want to see the removal of OG. Obviously, you can't take out Fred or Siakam. So it's kind of like a little bit of a log jam, if you will. Ken Birch, Precious Achua, those guys are solid, and I think if you bring in a guy like Nurkic, Robert Williams, Claxton, really any center, it's just going to kind of really load the weight off of these guys. So, take a look at their starting lineup last night. Scotty Barnes, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 of 11 from the field. Like, do you really want to take the 4th pick of the draft, who's averaging 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 3.5 assists? I think if they were to trade for Nurkic, I think, honestly, Scotty might still close out those games. Especially after that game-tying tip-in against the Chicago Bulls. Robert Williams, really intriguing. Very, very intriguing. I think if Robert Williams came to Toronto, that would be another situation where they would definitely make a deep playoff run. But once again, as the issue is with the Indiana Pacers, I just don't think Toronto has the package to get a guy like Robert Williams from Boston. In fact, I highly doubt Robert Williams goes anywhere this season. That's really it for today. I think the most realistic guys might be Danilo Gallinari. Miles might be a little realistic. Jakob Poeltl, I think, is relatively realistic if the Spurs decide to go in that direction. Unfortunately, Robert Williams, I don't really see that happening. Nick Claxton, I think, would be super dope, but once again, unless James Harden gets traded, even if James Harden gets traded, I don't think that the Nets are going to be trying to get rid of their best defender. So, as a big man defender, how's that? That's it for today, guys. Hit the like button, hit that sub button, man. Let's hit 100 likes on today's video. And then once again, if you guys want Swag and I to make our own, kind of like dual Toronto Raptors channel, where we post in a couple of times a day, most likely, go ahead, drop a comment down below.